In a bid to bolster its chances in the 2023 national elections, which hold in 178 days from now, Nigerians in the diaspora have formed groups of committees to launch crowdfunding initiatives for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. A report by a sister publication, This Day newspaper, says Obi's supporters plan to unveil in the coming days a crowdfunding portal with a target of raising $150 million from its supporters in the diaspora and $100 billion from those 100 billion naira, so to say, from those in Nigeria. Now, the initiative is being driven by young, enthusiastic Nigerians in the tech sector who are making waves and yearning for new Nigerian leadership. Obi, who was in California on Tuesday, is currently on a foreign tour to meet with his supporters in Canada, Germany, London, Italy, and the United States, where it is expected that he will raise substantial amount of funds needed to prosecute the election. But at home here, his political party continues to enjoy defections from other political parties too, with the latest being the renowned actor and legal practitioner Kenneth Okonkwo, among others, who have joined the Labour Party to help him prosecute his presidential ambition. Well, to discuss more on this, I have joining me in the studio the cerebral Nollywood actor who is now the latest entrant into the Labour Party in Nigeria. He's also a legal practitioner. And of course, I'm glad to have Nollywood actor Kenneth Okonkwo joining me here. So good having you again.
Thank you very much.
After our last outing.
Good evening, viewers at home.
And how's it been? I mean, you are now in the Labour Party. The last time you were here, it was in the realm of speculation, but now you're fully a member of the Labour Party. What does it feel like leaving the APC, Nigeria's governing party, and getting into the opposition? Some will say that you have committed political suicide.
You know, being a member of a ruling party, it means that the only thing that can make you to leave such a platform for a new platform is because you want to play politics based on principles. And of course, you know that Nigeria is yearning for a change, for a new Nigeria. Whoever is a Nigerian and is telling you he's happy with the status quo is doing it either for pecuniary or personal interests. Certainly not because of national interests. Because you have seen that the economy has collapsed. As I'm talking to you, the deficit in the economy is 11 point something trillion naira. 3.36 trillion naira is to be used for subsidy alone. As you can see, the security apparatus has collapsed. The terrorists now come to Abuja to release their own prisoners, and the president cannot release their victims, the victims of the president captured in the train. They have spent 114 days in captivity. Security has collapsed. You can imagine the governor of the president, the governor of Katsina state, weeping and crying, telling the people that men now voluntarily give their wives and daughters for the terrorists to enjoy sexually for 1 week. I'm talking about the governor of Katsina state, the governor of the president. And corruption has collapsed. One person stealing 109 billion naira. And this APC ran under the mantra of anti-corruption, of economy and security. So APC has failed. And their failure is built on the foundation of the failure of PDP. That failed first, they acknowledged that they failed. In fairness to them, they apologized to Nigerians. So Nigeria is yearning for a change. Having looked through the constitution of Labour Party, I told you the last time I came that I cannot enter a party first except I am appraised with their modus operandi. And when I read through the constitution, I realized that Article 8C of the Labour Party actually said, as one of its objectives, to create a new Nigerian personality who will be patriotic, altruistic, transparent, committed to due process and rule of law in governance, in industry, and in all spheres of our national life. Also, if you go to L of that article, stating the objective, he said to promote rapid technological and scientific advancement of Nigeria as a basis to take away this economy from underdevelopment to industrialized society in all our spheres. And then to pursue this, if you go to P, through the principles of integrity. So when you check this and check the sound that is coming out from the presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate of Labour Party, I now realize why they chose Labour Party. Because these are exactly what they have been saying, to transform Nigeria from consumption to production. You and I know that Dati Baba Ahmed is one of the originators of the due process, because he has encapsulated in his own vision that procurement and inflation of contract has been the sources of corruption in this country. So when you combine these two cerebral human beings, we are entering the realm of a new Nigeria.
Okay. Can you observe yourself, Kenneth Okonkwo,
Yes.
from the challenges that the APC-led federal government is going through when you marketed the same President Muhammadu Buhari administration to Nigerians? Do you feel
Good.
sad that you sold this candidate to Nigerians who is now the president of the country?
Let me tell you something. I absorb myself 100%. One, I was never part of his government whatsoever.
But you sold
in
him
any
to
capacity.
Nigerians.
Good. By 2015, I was in PDP. I did not bring Buhari to power. Let me confess, I have a personal love for President Buhari. Good. I did not help to bring him to power, because by 2011, he had openly and said he's retiring from politics. So by 2015, I felt a younger person should be allowed to complete his term. I was in PDP then. So I did not help to bring him to power.
Well. I'm saying in
But
2019,
in 2019, he had done his first tenure. And let me tell you the truth. When they came in, they tackled the issue of security preliminarily, to the point that they declared that Boko Haram has been technically defeated. I joined APC December 30th, when PDP failed as a ruling party and failed as an opposition party. They were not creating formidable opposition to the ruling party, which is the condition sine qua non to the progress of democracy. And I really thought that a former military head of state, in fairness, who chased away terrorists and who has entered the government and is doing well in security-wise, will continue in that trajectory. And I thought that a former military head of state who sentenced politicians to 200 years in jail will continue in that trajectory. I thought also that in the economy he refused to borrow when he was military head of state and was paying our debts with crude oil. I thought he was going to continue in that trajectory. I was failed. And I told APC, after 6 years, and you do not get your acts together, I cannot sit down to defend the indefensible.
But you left the APC because of the Muslim ticket. So if Bola Tinubu had chosen a vice presidential candidate as a Christian, does it mean that you would still have been in the APC?
Now, let me make it clear, if you've been following my column, I write the Sunday Sun of the back page, of the Sunday Sun. Good. I have been saying it, that the ticket about 2023 must be a ticket that will accede to the equity and justice and fairness in Nigeria. I granted interview to one sister television, and I say I am not going to say who I will support until the candidates come out with their vice presidential candidates. Because in 2023, I wasn't going to play the game of party. I was going to play the game of Nigeria. And so the Muslim ticket is the final straw that broke the camel's back. Because I have been saying, if Obi did not get his act right, I wasn't going to support an Igbo candidate because he's Igbo. He must be qualified.
Yeah, we're going to come that.
When, when PDP made the choice,
break.
and of course the great unifier became the great divider in PDP, they're still quarreling about the choice of the vice presidential ticket. When APC made their choice, where a Muslim felt that only Muslims can win the election for him, and he said it by himself, no Christian is competent, no Christian can win election for him. And if you know what, Bishop Cook has said it is reprehensible and unacceptable. You know what? Isaiah Abo, a senator, a member of his presidential campaign, said it's irresponsible. So for me, I would rather listen to this gentleman and make that ticket unacceptable to me. as the convener of Equity and Justice, when Peter Obi made his own choice, you can see that the choice satisfied the constitutional requirement of balancing in ethnic, linguistic, and religious considerations.
All right, I'll ask you to hold on. Let's go on the short break.
Thank you.
And when we come back, I want to quiz you on your statement calling on Igbo to support Peter Obi as an Igbo candidate, which is really leading to a lot of backlash by Obi supporters. You're still watching the Arise interview. The conversation continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. I'm Somna Sambo, and of course, we're still taking a look at the politics of Labour Party, and of course, some of the things that are happening there, including recent defections. And of course, my guest in the studio is still Kenneth Okonkwo, a Nollywood actor and Labour Party member. Now, I want you to tell me about that tweet you put out asking the Igbo nation, the people of the southeast of Nigeria, to ensure that they support Peter Obi to emerge president of Nigeria in 2023. And some of Obi's supporters are finding it very offensive, saying that you're trying to make him look like an Igbo candidate, and that had always backfired in the past whenever anyone from the Southeast comes from that gamut of wanting to be president of Nigeria just because he comes from the Igbo nation, not because that person wears the Nigerian toga.
You see, you cannot imagine how happy I am when people are saying that. That automatically tells you that if you're an Igbo man, you're loved by the entire Nigeria. Because it must be people from the other extractions that are saying, sorry, Obi is not an Igbo candidate. Obi is the best president of Nigeria who happens to come from Southeast. Now, when I became a Labour Party member, the youths called me. They say all of them in the Southeast are moving towards Labour Party. But they say that there are some politicians in the Southeast that are discouraging them. That yes, Obi is the most qualified, but that they should not vote for Obi because it will be wasted votes. You may have listened to them, some of them, in the national television, coming out to say Obi is the most qualified. But because he doesn't have structures, because he doesn't have this, that he is not going to win. So I told the youths, excuse me, if other youths of the other parts of Nigeria are rooting for Obi, who is that politician from the Southeast to come and deceive you that your vote will be wasted if you cast it for Obi? Have you not been wasting your vote for 24 years? Vote for Obi. Don't listen to them. Whether it is wasted or not, you have made a statement out of it that we want a new Nigeria. So actually, it was in furtherance to the fact that Peter Obi is powered by Nigeria, not Igbo. That's why I'm telling the youths, join the other youths of the other parts of Nigeria. Don't listen to those failed politicians. They have even made it public. It's not even anything private. So it is actually a call for all Nigerians to know that Obi is not an Igbo candidate and couldn't have been. Do you know the first people that powered Obi into power? Doyin Okupe. Is he Southeast? He was the first person that stepped down for Obi as a presidential aspirant, older than Obi.
Yes, the People's Democratic Party.
Yes, equally qualified to be president. But he said, no, equity and justice demands that if my people had become president and had been blessed with vice president within 24 years, equity and justice demands that it should go to Southeast. This is the word of Doyin Okupe. Okay. And he saw a man that is qualified to be president, not because the man is from Southeast. And then he stepped down for him. So do you know who is powering Obi? Afenifere. Do you know who is taking Obi to London? Obasanjo. Does that name sound as if they come from Southeast? So no failed politician from the Southeast is going to stop this journey towards a new Nigeria, powered by all Nigerians.
Well, considering the number of other Southeast presidential candidates in the 2023 election, like Abga, for example, and of course you have people like Ifeanyi Okowa, who is an Igbo, but of South-South extraction, Kachikudu maybe, and all of that. Don't you think that these people consistently being in this race will eat away from some of the votes that Peter Obi is going to get. Is there any need to bring Ohanaeze Ndigbo into this discussion to see how, apart from having this pan-Nigerian support, Peter Obi can also have the support of some political party candidates to have an understanding or a sort of alliance that will help his chances improve better?
Well, it is beautiful to declare that while at least the alliances of the other parties are collapsing, our alliances are growing. So you will continually witness the synergy that will continually harness all these parties to converge within the LP. Remember, Peter Obi is now the official face of the third force. And I say this because I know that President Obasanjo has been crying for a third force from 2019. It was because he didn't see a face that he can actually, come around, because he has become tired of the PDP, which he tore the certificate openly, and the APC, who have run the country aground. And now, when Obasanjo said he's talking about national agenda, honestly, I agree with him. It has nothing to do with, Obi is not from his area.
Yeah, but what if I tell you that some Nigerians saying Peter Obi with Obasanjo has made them to stay away from the Labour Party and its presidential candidate? Because they keep saying that if Peter Obi is going to the same people who have governed Nigeria and some say cause problem for the country, then it looks like Peter Obi is part of the ruling elites of the country. Let
me tell you, democracy is about cohesion amongst your own people and collaboration with other people. It has to do with numbers. It has to do with unity. You must get everybody to join your train, even if prisoners are allowed to vote. I will go to the prison to convince them on why they should vote for Labour Party. You have to win first.
And you don't think they will stay in the party? Because this is the same thing that happened with the APC when people came from different political parties. They were trying to look for members everywhere, support from everywhere, and they came in, and some of the APC members I have interviewed here said that the coming in of those defectors diluted the original ideology of APC. Aren't you afraid that the original ideology of the Labour Party will be diluted when eventually you have people like Obasanjo telling Peter Obi to do if he ever becomes president?
I want to tell you something. We should, in this country, know when people are lying. They cannot excuse their incompetence to talking about defectors. We did not vote for defectors, we voted for a president. If the president does not know how to govern, if he outsources his governorship style to defectors, who is to blame? The ultimate responsibility, I was taught in management, for any decision lies on the head. They should stop giving excuses. Excuses and successes, they do not go together. Peter Obi is going to be president. When he was APGA governor, the only governor in the whole nation, did you see anybody breathing down on him? He was voted in by people. PDP was the party then, but he was voted in by Anambra people. And eventually he was what? He was responsible to Anambra people. Have you not heard some of the godfathers, purportedly of Anambra politics, saying when he was in power, he refused to even give them expensive wine? It was there in the open. Good. So you need to play good politics to win. That does not mean that you are going to play bad governance when you come into power. What you would do depends on your competence, your capability, your character, your courage, your content, and convictions. It does not depend on who brought you to power. Obama was brought into power by numerous, people. He went there and did what he wanted to do. Joe Biden, the same thing. So you need everybody to vote for you. And you need to go in there to do what will be good for Nigeria.
Okay. Peter Obi is touring the world right now.
I thought they say he didn't have structure.
Well, it looks like Peter Obi is beginning to put in place structure.
Good. And they're not afraid. They're saying Obasanjo and this and that. If I want to contest, if all of them will join me to make me to win, to bring about my intention to Nigeria, indeed, I am going to even ask them to join.
Aren't these same people that have led Nigeria to be a consumption economy? So why is Peter Obi going to this same set of people that have refused to make Nigeria a production-based economy?
Good. Now, Obasanjo is not qualified to contest for the presidency of Nigeria again. He is a father of the nation, a statesman. You have something to learn from every past head of state.
And a lot of Nigerians say one of those who squandered Nigeria's goodwill, who refused to move Nigeria to the country that Peter Obi wants Nigeria to be like.
He can teach Peter Obi how not to do those things, because if he had done them and he did not profit Nigeria, he can teach him how not to do those things. You cannot possibly say Obasanjo is looking for money or fame or for power. He can no longer contest. He has money enough to feed himself and his generations yet unborn. But he is now a statesman, and the burden of the survival of Nigeria is at the heart of everybody, including the terrorists, because Nigeria has to survive. So everybody is looking for survival of Nigeria and is looking for a way of escape. Peter Obi is now the symbol of that escape, and everybody should fall in line. If I see His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, if I see Bola Tinubu, I will beg them to step down and join Peter Obi
and you think they would
become president.
Look at, for example, when they were going into a meeting in London, yes, to meet with Wike, you could see Atiku Abubakar coming just alone, Bola Tinubu meeting with Wike alone. But when it came to the issue of Peter Obi had to be moving with an Obasanjo to meet with Wike. Isn't that a weakness on the part of Peter Obi himself? That Peter Obi is not strong enough to negotiate politically until he has to go around with an elder statesman like Obasanjo before he's able to confront a political actor like Wike. Is that not a weakness on the part of Peter Obi?
Well, maybe you did not watch the clips that I watched. Atiku did not go alone. At least the governor of his state went with him, Governor Fintere. If you go and watch the picture again,
those were just other people who accompanied him, but not good to negotiate
President
on those terms
for him. Is the big wig that accompanied Peter Obi. I would certainly prefer a former president to accompany me than a preserving governor when I am going on political movement. Which one is superior? A man that has sat on that seat, who knew what he saw, and he's telling you this is the man that can handle the challenges of the situation, or men that have never tested that office, not even in their dream. Even when they had the opportunity for the government to be given to them, their principles say they are the most corrupt people on earth. Who would you prefer to accompany you? I would prefer a President Obasanjo to accompany me. Other people had companies. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you know, one of the candidates cannot even go alone. He will need people to accompany him. He has been accompanied even to walk majestically. I'm not trying to be, that's a fact. So he must have been accompanied with people. He did not want it to be open. We did not see pictures. But I'm telling you that Obi went with the biggest cow. And of course, that is preferable.
Okay. Well, interesting times ahead. In your political party, there are fears that Peter Obi may not have the required funds to run for the 2023 polls. And I mean, a Financial Times of London article has said that for you to emerge as president of Nigeria, you need between 300 to 500 billion naira to be able to emerge. And we hear that Peter Obi's supporters are actually worried and they are beginning to crowdfund for him. There's a plan to raise $150 million US from the diaspora, and then of course 100 billion naira within Nigeria. Tell us about that. How do you think that more Nigerians can be able to support Peter Obi to match these political actors? When you hear Atiku and Tinubu, of course, you know that money is not their problem. I mean, the problem is how to actually woo Nigerians. But people say that Peter Obi has a money problem.
Well, I would want to thank the foreign magazine for their postulations. They've been doing such postulations about Nigeria and have been very, very faulty. 300 billion, 400 billion is not the greatest asset to win election in Nigeria. It's the people.
But you are raising funds for people.
Yes, we are going to raise more funds. Because this is required.
I mean, you know that you can't withstand Tinubu or Atiku in this election if you don't have money.
Now, what happened in Osho? They had the incumbency. They had the money. The people voted them out. I'm trying to tell you that the major component that you need is not the money. It's the people. Obi has no structure. Millions of people are marching. Those millions that are marching are votes because nobody gave them shishi. So I cannot possibly be slapping the road, being beaten by rain to come and vote for somebody else. So what I'm trying to tell you is that people is the greatest strength of the Labour Party. But when it comes to money, you will be surprised.
And when you say
People
you don't give
are pleading,
shishi,
yes.
people are beginning to say that, look, it looks like you don't understand Nigerian politics, because vote buying is one of the political calculations being put in place by, those legacy politicians that have always understood the psyche of the average Nigerian voter. Aren't you prepared to confront such legacy politicians, money for money, idea for idea, strategy for strategy?
I just told you that people is the greatest power. And let me refer you to what happened in Anambra State. Some group of poor women, their votes were to be bought for a certain failed political party. They refused and still voted for APGA. Nigerians have sold their votes before, and they have realized that it's the birthrights that they are selling. It's a new Nigeria we're talking about. And I'm telling you that people are marching, funding themselves. People are going to social media, using their data, funding themselves. On that day, Nigerians are going to witness the revolution we're talking about. The money is not the problem now. You know why? Now that I'm a member of the support group, I have seen how people are willing. One of the persons, a trader, for instance, he made it public that he was going to supply all the speakers to be used during campaign. Go and quantify that in money. And many other people on their own, and they will even tell you, don't give me money, I want a new Nigeria. So you are witnessing a revolution.
Well, the APC and PDP will tell you that you're just the noisemakers. They haven't come into the scene yet.
Yes.
They are just still preparing, waiting for September 28th to hit you. When they say such things, including one of the presidential candidates saying that the Labour Party will continue to labor in vain, what comes to your mind?
He said, he didn't even say they will labor in vain. He said they will labor to death. That tells you the amount of derogation, denigration such party has now meted out for the Nigerian people. Are you surprised that his party has left children at home and telling ASU to go to hell? Is that not labor to death? I have good news for them. Those that labor in tears shall reap in joy. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy cometh in the morning. We are going to see a new dawn where labor will be respected, where the people will be respected. Labour Party signifies the working class, the intellectuals, the professionals, the students, the women. All these people, they are the focal point of the Labour Party. If you know the logo of Labour Party is the wheel, and the man, the woman, and the child engraved in the center. That wheel signifies industry. It signifies work as basis for economic empowerment of the populace and prosperity of the nation, continuous growth and development. And now, the linkage between the wheel and the people, it is to the effect that governance, economic and social development must lead to the advancement of human beings. So you have political parties that have been propounding high-sounding policies that does not dovetail to the welfare of the people, and they call themselves political parties. That's why he has the F-13 to say you will labor to death. No, we will labor to joy. Okay. Watch and see.
And that's because it's accused your presidential candidate of always churning out statistics that sometimes are faulty, that don't actually speak to the situation. They accuse your presidential candidate of being one of the chief importers of goods into Nigeria, that if he wanted a production-based economy, he would have cited lots of factories and all of that in Nigeria before now. Why should Nigerians believe Peter Obi in the face of this accusation by, other political parties? And don't you think you're putting so much confidence in Obi so that he doesn't get into power like Buhari had lots of support in 2015, and all of a sudden you get to see a different president from the one that you were promoting?
Now, Peter Obi is the greatest marketer of his brand. He's the chief spokesperson of his brand. He always does the best. We are here to do the rest. I wish I can say that for the presidential candidates of the other two political parties. Since the primary election, none of them had granted live interview. So we don't even know where they stand. This is no longer the era of writing beautiful manifestos, which the presidential candidate may not even know the content. No, it has happened in APC. If you read APC's manifestos, as I did, and their constitution, talking about restructuring, talking about true federalism, talking about beautiful policies, and the presidential candidate came in and said, what is restructuring? Their vice presidential candidate said, restructuring my foot. Go to hell with your restructuring, publicly. But this is what their manifestos said. That was why before I entered Labour, I had to marry what the candidates were saying with the constitution of the party, which I have laid out for you. Before I say, okay, these people actually, because we are hearing from them. Have you heard from the presidential candidates on a live interview of PDP, of APC? No, you cannot hear from them on a live interview. You know why? I'm sorry to say it, but it is a constitutional provision, section 144, subsection 2, that before somebody should be a president, he would be so active and agile and would not be infirmed in body and in mind to the extent that will affect his performance. So when we refer to the frailty of both the APC and PDP, it's actually a constitutional provision.
Well, age is not a factor in politics, because if that's the factor, yes. if it's a factor, then of course you won't have Joe Biden, US president, at this age.
I did not talk about age. Sorry, I talk about infirmity of body and mind.
I mean, they go together.
No, I will vote for an old man who is fit like fiddle. I will not vote for a young man who is suffering from any kind of ailment that will forbid him.
It's not on record that they are suffering of any
No, you don't need to see it on record. What is factual is factual. When a man cannot turn a page of a book publicly, what is he not frail? No. In law, direct evidence states objective reality, and oral evidence cannot be used to contradict it. I came here by 4 p.m. You cannot contradict it by oral evidence because it's objective reality. So we don't need any doctor to tell us what we are seeing. That is direct evidence in law.
So Nigerians can make the assessment themselves.
For their accusation about Peter Obi, you know what I want to tell you? He was chairman of Fidelity Bank. Is that importation?
Very quickly, as we try to round off this conversation.
Good. He's the chairman. He was the chairman of Fidelity Bank. Is that importation? People come and blow your mind away. What is the product he is importing? Who has ever come publicly to mention one?
Well, there are several products.
And I am not saying, hold
on. You and I know that there are several products that
he's not importing anything.
Import into Nigeria.
Let's not go there. Kenneth Okonkwo. What is he importing? What is he producing? Yet he's the richest, part of the richest people in Lagos. What is the source of his money?
Which is what many Nigerians are interested in knowing when the campaign season begins.
Good. I have a presidential candidate that the source of income is known by everybody. And that is what we talk industrial work.
All right.
They have presidential candidates that the sources of their income is not known by anybody.
All right, Kenneth Okonkwo, just before I let you go, there are talks here and there that your coming into Labour parties doesn't add any value because you haven't won any election before, you don't have enough political support. What would you say to those who criticize you that way? I mean,
good.
What sort of value are you adding to the Labour Party with your coming into it?
Good. I have not won any election because I have not contested for any election. I did not consider PDP and APC clean enough for me to subject my name to contest. When I was trying to contest for the House of Reps, they called us one day and said all of us would step down. When I wanted to contest for APC, they said 20-something million naira. When you check the salary of the governor in 4 years, if you actually want to not to be corrupt, I have written about they are saying 100 million to contest for the presidency. Is that the kind of party I should do? Let me tell you, if any in Labour Party check their constitution, they say they must broaden participation in governance by making sure that the course of electoral process must be such as not to be a hindrance to Nigerians.
Okay.
So, but look at these people. They have created obstacles for you, if you want to be a clean person, to contest. President Buhari said he cannot afford the nomination fee of the APC. Governor El-Rufai said he cannot afford the nomination fee of APC. Sitting governor, sitting president. And they want me, Kenneth Okonkwo, to take my money that I'm investing in business.
Well, that's why you would have supporters.
That's
why you have supporters. And of course, you have your fellow actors like you.
When I did, those people that say what I'm going to bring in into this ticket.
We're losing time.
When I did Living in Bondage, I brought the whole world into loving Nigerian movie industry. Today we are the number 2 in Nollywood.
In terms of volume?
In terms of volume, even in terms of quality.
Well,
because of the Netflix and all those things. Now I'm in politics. Just for declaring that I have resigned from APC. The whole world heard it. That I've entered Labour. The whole world heard it. I was invited to this place, this exalted place, on my person as Kenneth Okonkwo, not as a member of any political party, not having held any political party. I don't want to blow my trumpet, but if you allow me to do it, it will be so loud that you can't hear anything.
Well, these are interesting times ahead, considering that even some of your colleagues who are in the Nollywood film industry are actually supporting these other presidential candidates that you wouldn't support based on other issues. But
name them.
Well,
because I know that Hilda Dokubo joined the
yeah, I mean, she just joined Labour Party, but we've seen
I just
others,
joined.
I mean,
I just joined.
And all of that, promoting
President
the Bola Tinubu presidency
and
all of that. I mean,
we are not joining Labour Party, we are joining the fight for a new Nigeria.
Yeah, well, not all your colleagues are seeing it from your own perspective.
Yes, my colleagues have the right, as I've told you before. A lot of them are going in as actors, and they are entitled to the appearance fee. I've said it before. I am going in as a politician.
Okay.
And all of them that are going in as politicians are convinced, based on principles, on why they must join the fight for a new Nigeria.
All right, so it's clear now that you're not receiving any appearance fee for being in the Labour Party.
No, they don't even give you. When I reached the Labour Party office, the Comrade National Chairman, Comrade Julius Abure, they welcomed me. You saw the welcome. So wonderful. Nobody asked me for money. They came to my chambers to register me. Nobody asked for money. And I'm like, am I still in Nigeria? Because it has never happened.
Okay. Kenneth Okonkwo, we must thank you immensely for being on our program to help us understand these issues in the Labour Party. And we just hope that as the campaigns heat up, there will be that decorum in the sort of messages that are being sent to Nigerians to woo their vote. We've been having a conversation with a chieftain of the Labour Party, if I'm permitted to use that now. Should I?
Oh, well, you should.
Kenneth Okonkwo, who is a Nollywood actor, legal practitioner, and the latest entrant into Labour Party. He's a member of this opposition party that's making waves at the moment, but some would accuse the party of just being centered in the urban centers alone.